Hey everyone, welcome back to That Second Gen Life. I'm your host, Samhar Raya, and today is a special conversation I want to have with you about my takeaways from the Eritrean Diaspora Innovators Summit, which we hosted 10 days ago now, 11 days ago. It's been a week and a half of reflection, of feedback, of a lot of post-production work, and a little bit of downtime as I got hit with a cold that came right on cue. So I'm still recovering. You can hear a little bit of it in my voice, but I really just wanted to sit with you today and share with you three main takeaways that I have as of today from the summit. Overall, I just want to say I'm blown away by the responses for the summit, the people who registered and who showed up, the people who asked questions. We've got a lot of DMs. We're still getting them about the summit. And it's telling me that this is definitely a space that we need to continue and we need to offer again. And we need to offer it in many different ways. A summit, a gathering of this kind needs to happen. But I think there's also a continued space related to the summit that we should think about having because everyone's on a different journey, different point in their diaspora journey. And when they find this summit, it speaks to them, but you may not want to wait a year for this kind of convening. You may want to get a taste of it. And I'm realizing that we need to start giving more touch points for second gens of the Eritrean diaspora that are about professional development, diaspora leadership, mental health and wellness, community collaboration. There are so many aspects to our lives that go unaddressed or we underinvest in it. And yes, it's incumbent on you to take care of yourself and make decisions that are in your best interest to live well and to live safely and to live healthily in the diaspora. But you can't do it alone. You need encouragement, you need connections, you need a network, you need examples. And so for me, I'm realizing that the Eritrean Diaspora Innovator Summit is about acknowledging and highlighting and amplifying innovative Eritrean diaspora members, particularly from the second gen, but it's also about an innovative way of thinking about your life in the diaspora. So that's where I want to start. But the three takeaways, let me just go into them quickly because I don't want this to be too long, but I want you to hear it, okay? The first major takeaway is that we really need to see more of ourselves in each other. We really need to have a reflection opportunity to hold a mirror up to ourselves as individuals and a chance for us to see each other as a community. I don't think we have enough opportunities for Eritrean second gens to connect. And second gens means children of immigrants. If you are the first to be born in the United States, I know it's very tempting to call yourself first generation American. That might be true if you're talking about citizenship, if maybe your parents didn't get citizenship, but I really believe how it's incredibly important that we are always giving honor to the stories of our immigrant communities and our immigrant families who have taken the greatest risk for us to be here. And their journey of being the first to set foot here, their journey of being the first to figure out this ecosystem so that you could succeed, I think deserves massive respect and honor that I really enjoy validating their experience as the first generation. And so whether or not they get their quote unquote citizenship to be full on naturalized Americans, in this case, I'm talking about my country, but I would offer this wherever you're listening to think about it from wherever you are. There's something really beautiful, and we're preserving a really important part of our narrative as diasporas, as Eritreans, as a people, in the multiple steps you have to take to really become a part of a community. It's deciding to leave one, making the trek to go to another, and then showing up at another and getting involved. So I want you all to really also embrace your story as being the second, because the second is super rich and exciting. It means you have the ability to fly, to leap, to take risks. And of course, it may sound antithetical or against the natural interests of the first generation. They want you to be safe. The second generation gets to really explore much further because of the hard work and the sacrifices of the first generation. And I would argue, especially for the African diasporas, you are also able to leap and to imagine and to take risks because of the fights and the struggles of our ancestors, of people of African descent in the countries that you likely reside in the diaspora, or the struggle for civil rights for Black people, or the struggle for the rights of African, in this case, and African Americans, really is the only way you could have even gotten this far. So you have to be able to distinguish where you sit on this journey and honor your journey versus the others. So in that sense, I'm thinking about how few spaces are actually dedicated to acknowledging the hyphenated experience, living in the middle, being not enough of this, not enough of that. You can put it in that language, but the language I put it in is you are this and that. And my realization was that we actually don't have spaces where Eritrean of second gens are learning from each other peer to peer and are connecting. Now, this could apply to professional settings and how you navigate a professional space, and it could apply to how you make decisions in your life that are the best for you, your family, and your community if you think that's a part of your ecosystem. It's also a space, by seeing each other, you realize you're not alone in your mental health struggles, your inheritance of trauma as members of diasporas. We all have trauma, not just my people, all of us. And the least likely traumatized diasporas are probably the ones that have been able to integrate and assimilate the most, which is the whiter you are, the more likely you've integrated into a white supremacist, white majority country. But for the rest of us, our journeys and our departures and our integrations into new homelands does come with a really unfair reality of racism, white supremacy, institutional barriers, the struggles of making largely capitalistic societies where it's about who you know and how you reach the market. It's not right, and it's not okay, and it shouldn't stay that way, but it is reality. And so I'm thinking about mental health from that standpoint of how do you carry and honor the narratives that we've inherited that make us so proud, make us so resilient, but also are a direct consequence of war or uprooting, family separation, loss of jobs, economic hardship, deaths of all migrants. Every single community has a story of leaving a homeland, and that in itself is traumatic. But that isn't where the conversation starts and stops. The next step is to say, how do I carry my truths and my people's truths in a way that is honoring them and honoring us, but not causing additional harm to my well-being and my state of self? I want you to understand that there are ways to honor struggle and sacrifice and not resent it, not get tired of it, not rebuke it. There is a way to carry it with the preciousness and the sanctity that it has in terms of honoring the struggle of your ancestors and your own family and your own parents in some cases, but not letting it prevent you from growing and from exploring more. So that was the first thing. That multitude of seeing ourselves in many different ways was profound. The summit featured all these incredible people with second gen or 1.5 stories coming at a young age and learning from each other how they did it or what best practices we should consider for our wellness. The second takeaway from the summit is one thing I really I underestimated how important this would be. But the importance of being able to have authentic conversations that recognize that you are your own person and having a way to speak to each other honestly, truthfully, kindly, respectfully was really nice. And it wasn't like I came into the summit with those expectations or those rules or parameters. Of course, you start everything and you say, this is a private space. Everything that's said here is confidential. It's for you. But something about speaking to people from a place of real, true, genuine love and authenticity and respect means that you speak with intentionality. You also invite people to participate in the summit with intentionality. Take off your edges, take off your tension, take off all the hats you think you're carrying right now. Take them off. Come and listen with an open mind, open heart, and be engaged. I think being able to have conversations with speakers in a really beautiful, candid way and engaging with the audience, the attendees, in that authentic way just really filled my heart. I think it filled the speakers. The speakers really loved the space, kind of conversations we were able to have. It was calm and it was affirming. And some of the feedback we're getting from participants now, a week later, is I didn't know I could look at my life this way. And I didn't know that this is how you frame what I've gone through. And gone through, quote unquote, doesn't mean that it's a heavy negative thing. It's just a life journey. But putting language to our diaspora journey, as Eritreans in this case, really just helps you breathe a little bit easier. You don't feel like you are, and you don't feel like you're out of the box or an outlier in some way. You don't feel like you're that different when you realize just how common this is. But you just have another chance to be seen, to be validated, and to be spoken to in a way that is massively respectful and kind and thoughtful. I think we need that, and I think all of us need that. The third thing that I am taking away from the summit is the call to action on what it means of us, of those of us that attend a space like this and participate in a space like this. By the end of the 2 days, we had wrapped up the summit with a really wonderful feature of 3 diaspora organizations led by second gens that are doing phenomenal work, as well as an organization that we're collaborating with and an organization that was our affiliate partner. And these 5 organizations are phenomenal examples of how you use your time, talent, and treasure to create community, to create the spaces you wish existed. But my takeaway wasn't about them. My takeaway was about us and what we do to support organizations like those. Now I'm going to list for you all the names of the organizations, but essentially my takeaway is that we have to do better. We have to do the work to support organizations and leaders who take the brave step of creating the space they wish existed. And doing better isn't a rebuke or a condemnation. It's let's ideate. Sorry. And my takeaway from this panel with the 5 diaspora organizations, and my takeaway from the summit, my third takeaway from the summit, it isn't actually about these diaspora organizations or the leaders. The takeaway is that we have an abundance of resources and support already at our fingertips for organizations and leaders like this. As members of our communities, as individuals, we have a huge bucket of skills and offerings and donations and in-kind contributions that are in our daily lives, and we just don't think of how to activate them. And so during the summit, in our conversation with the panelists, with the nonprofit panelists in particular, we started just sharing all the different ways you can support an org. And I'm going to give you a couple here, but I want you to just hold on up. I want to share them with you at length in an email because it's just too much to share here right now. But simple things that you can really do to support a diaspora nonprofit. Of course, we always say you can donate, and you should donate $5 a month. What is that? Like, is it the act of donating that exhausts you? Because it's certainly not the $5 if you are in the West, if you can afford, I don't know, like a night with your friends, you can definitely afford this for a whole year. But a small donation that is recurring is phenomenally helpful. But beyond that, I'm telling you, the ways you can volunteer, even just once, is huge. If you're an accountant, you can help with bookkeeping. If you like taking photos, you can start taking stock photos of communities to help diaspora orgs get more representation in their photos. If you like writing, there's grant writing that everyone needs help with. There's designing. If you like making flyers, offer them to nonprofits for free. Offer like a bevy of templates. Build a canvas, build a Etsy store if you want to make money. Create photos to put on Canva. It's just really incredible. Use your Dropbox accounts or your storage accounts if you have any that you don't use, offer them. There's a lot of different ways that you can offer things. And of course, it's a little scary because you don't know if you're really good at it, but you have to do your work of figuring out what you enjoy doing and what you're willing to learn and offer. But resources are abundant. And so that giving back to community, it looks like, what do you have that's handy in your own life that you could offer? Some people are really good at Google Sheets. Some people are really good at Canva. Just say, hey, I'll make a series of templates for this organization if you want. Do you want me to make some designs for you? Because marketing, communications, and fundraising are really the bane of nonprofit existence, in my opinion. I ran a nonprofit for 10 years. And here I am trying to do the programs, but you got to do the fundraising. You got to do the marketing and comms. And it's not that different when you have a business. But when you have a business, you have more agility, you have more ability to move left and right. A nonprofit is a strategic organization that has a long-term goal, has a change goal. And our communities rely on nonprofits. And if they don't rely on them, it's because they don't realize what gaps nonprofits are actually here to do. And so these diaspora nonprofit organizations are making a huge risk and taking their best time, talent, and treasures to support a community. And I really just think the resources we have available to help a nonprofit are phenomenal. So let me know if you'd like to hear more about that, if the resources idea is a good thing, because I want to give you like a list of different things you can do. If you're an accountant, if you're a health professional, if you're an educator, if you're a tech person, if you're a designer, a creative, if you're a speaker, there's different things, right? And these orgs need it. Not just those orgs, all orgs. Anyway, that's my takeaway from this summit, at least 11 days later, 10 days later. What is my major takeaways? Seeing ourselves is profound, and seeing the range of our lived experiences and how we've navigated our lived experiences in diaspora is profoundly helpful. Being spoken to and speaking in a place of authenticity, of respect and kindness. I say that for all diasporas, but for us, we've never had a second gen space before, to my knowledge. And so being able to be spoken to and with in a way that acknowledges our wholeness is just so beautiful. And then lastly, this idea of how many resources we actually have at our fingertips as diasporas, as second gens, to help other second gens, phenomenal. I want us to sit there. I want us to think about, how do we activate ourselves to be a member of a community, especially now in this year, 2025. How do we build community? You don't wait for it. You've got to activate yourself. You've got to offer yourself. And so that's what the summit, I think, is the first step of us beginning to activate ourselves. And I just invite you to think of more ways you can activate yourself. All right. Sign up for my mailing list if you haven't already, because I'll be sharing the list of the organizations there. You can also sign up to watch the summit if you missed it, or if you wanted to catch it and you didn't get to register. You can register and watch the recording. They're available for you, and you will get all the resources with it. And if you registered and you didn't get to watch it, or you want to watch it again, it's available for you on replay already, the diasporaacademy.com website. So click on login and you'll get your information in, or just email us. I really just want to say thank you again, but it is phenomenal to think of our impact as second gens in a way that isn't negating or erasing our lived whole experiences. And as an Eritrean, I'm so honored and I'm so grateful that I got the chance to do this with my community first, and I'll always do it for my community first. So let me know your thoughts. Send me some comments. Send me some ideas if you want to see resources, links, or anything else, all right? It is the honor of a lifetime to be able to do the work with love and joy for my people and for all diasporas. And I really wish you the best week ever. Bye, everyone.